Okay, Phil, long time it seems since we spoke. No game for sports in over 2 weeks now.
Right.
How's that break been for you?
It's been an interesting break, Nigel. And what I mean by interesting, because of and I've said it to you many times, the lack of any kind of pre-season, what the foreign players call is preparation, a lack of pre-season. It's not having a go at the previous incumbent by any stretch of the imagination, but just that lack of full-time mentality in that 5-6 week period before the season starts. And the whole of the season has been playing catch-up, and consequently when the management changed hands, your new manager comes in, there's new manager bounce, how long does that last? All of them things. Every training session I was trying to nick a few runs out of the players, and all of the extra work that they were doing. It probably hit one or two physically quite hard, and then you've got to play on the Saturday, then you've got to play on the Tuesday. So it's been difficult trying to pinch the inch, as it were. But this last 2 weeks have been in a roundabout way, been a mid-season, pre-season. It's almost like a European break, when you have European competitions, and there's obviously 2/3 of the Premier League can't play in the European competitions. They have a 2 week period where they can top on whatever they want to top up. It could be rest, it could be recuperation, it could be getting injuries back, it could be just getting players away from the place because they're browbeaten by too much information. Information overloads a brain freeze. When you cross the white line, the best thing, the most important part of your body is the brain. So the last couple of weeks have been very, in my opinion, very positive. We had a friendly behind closed doors last Saturday, and we played against a team in Step 4 who we beat comfortably. But I don't want to harp on about that, because at the end of the day, a team in Step 4 we should beat comfortably. But players got enough minutes under the belt. Charlie Hick got half a game under his belt, which is
fantastic.
Great news for me. Great news for everybody, to tell you the truth, because Charlie's a player, there's no doubt about it. And players like Zach Willis on loan from Blues, he's got a run out in their 23s on Monday. So it's just been a topping up of games behind closed doors and training sessions, and positive. It's been very positive on the back of a couple of draws. The Oxford City clean sheet for a start was an important one, but the performance was good enough. We've looked at the video 2 or 3 times, and it was good enough to win the game. Albeit we could have conceded in the first half, but we didn't score, and we had 4 or 5 absolutely, belting chances. And in the second half, if truth be known, Oxford City camped out in front of their own goalkeeper, in front of their own penalty box, and we couldn't break it down. So there's been lots of things we can work with, lots of things we can build upon. But the most important one for me is getting injured players back. DJ is a couple of weeks down the line now with his hamstring. Charlie Hick, as I've mentioned, is a massive positive. Elliot Whitehouse, I'm just looking at the board there in position. Elliot Whitehouse's missus just had a second child, and that's all been going on in this last couple of weeks, and I haven't seen Elliot for a week and a half. So he'll be at training tonight with a view to playing some part on Saturday. Ben Beresford has had good news from a scan perspective. It's ahead of schedule, and hopefully Ben Beresford will be back on the training ground next Tuesday with a view to playing some part in the game next Saturday against Chester. So all of these things have been catch up. The one bad one, or the one bit of bad news that I don't want to end up on, I'm just finishing on that with regards to injury, was Gashi got a scan, and it was just sort of I can't say wrong diagnosis or misdiagnosis, because anybody can read a scan and get it wrong, but it looks like he's being set back a couple of weeks, maybe even longer, which from the positives that were coming out of Rizzo before Christmas, that he'll be on the training ground and he'll be joining in, and he may be available sometime in February. That's looking like it's going to be back end, if not back end of March. So the one bit of bad news was Gashi, but he's a good pro. Absolutely. And he's a good guy, and he's doing everything he possibly can to get back. So, and his contribution off the field of play is good as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've noticed in this break, there's been a lot of gym work being done. I walked in the tavern the other evening, and it looked more like a pure gym than a football club. Has that been a focus for the 2 week break? Because I know as well, I've seen the advert for a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Is that all part of this injury thing?
It is. Strength and condition has always been part and parcel of my life, on and off the field of play. And what I mean by on and off the field of play, on the field as a player, off the field of play as a coach or a manager. Going through the rigours of Premier League football and keeping players available for the manager. When we started at Bolton Wanderers, myself and Sam Allardyce, it was so important that the players were robust, and we use that word so often, robust, resilient, but getting that 6-week period at the start of a campaign is so important, and that's the robust, resilient part of it, where you're putting them through their paces in the gym, so that when they walk in the gym, it's not foreign to them, it's not a place where they're not quite comfortable with, they don't know what certain machines do and things like that. So a lot of people go in there and go on the treadmill for 20 minutes and then go home. That's not what a gym's all about. A gym's all about strength and conditioning work. So we've got people sort of turned half-cocked and pointing in the right direction. We've just got to push them a little bit, of which we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. I said to the chairman, if that bar, and no disrespect to it, the boardroom, the bar on a match day, is important. It's important for any hub of any group of supporters, and mixing with the players, man of the match awards, stuff like that. That is perfect for it, quiz nights and whatever. But it's also not a bar when it's not a bar, if you know what I mean. It's not a pub that's open 7 days a week. It's just open match days probably, and then special functions for darts nights and things like that. So turning it into something else more functional for me was going to be key. I mentioned this to the chairman. Within 24 hours, there was three bikes arrived, there was a treadmill arrived, there was a couple of rowing machines arrived, there was dumbbells all over the place, Olympic bars, you name it. So it's a step in the right direction. We're moving. It's slow, but it's only slow for reasons, as you can see, we've only got so much space. And we've got lots of ideas going on in my head, but brainstorming them ideas, we come up with some great ideas and then realise that's not our land, we can't do this, we can't do that. And then you've got the weather.
Yeah.
So the amount of times we've been inside is because, we've had a horrendous a cold snap, and then that was followed by horrendous rain, and then another cold snap, and you can't predict when we're in winter. I think winter comes around February, March in England these days, so we haven't even hit the winter yet, and we still have games cancelled. I've been talking to one or two people, and it's the majority of the managers that are ahead in terms of games schedule are the ones that have got AstroTurf pitches.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 games ahead of us. So if we've got to play catch up with regards to game time, we're going to be playing a lot of Saturday Tuesdays coming up, and there's plenty available, don't get me wrong, but the back end of the season is going to be about the number of bodies we can actually get on the pitch and keep on the pitch. So now is a mid-season, pre-season, without a shadow of a doubt.
And just the flip side to that, this break that's been enforced on sports, other teams have been playing, of course, because sports have not been playing because of cup games and stuff like that. That's gone your way, really, because you have dropped back into the bottom 4, but Southport have played their couple of games that they had in hand and not really got a draw, I think, out of it. So, the teams around you have been playing intermittently, and the results have gone for you.
We, I think, as a supporter, which I am, I support Sunderland. I've been looking at the Premier League table all season because of that, basically, and looking at the way Sunderland have set off, and can they be caught now, it's that thought process straight away. Can they be caught? What the hell? Why are you looking at that? Well, that's what supporters do. They look at the one game in hand and they put 3 points to it straight away. And sometimes you look at 2 and say there's 6 points over, we'll be ahead of them when we've played them 2 games. But it doesn't work that way. And the league never tells lies. At the end of the season, you are what you are, and we'll accept that. We will accept that. We've had a tough time, especially with the fact that I've mentioned Gashi, and he's still in the camp as a player. But he's contributing. It has to be said, he's contributing, and that for me is priceless, and it's testimony to the person. But at the end of it, we will be jointly responsible for where we finish, and fingers crossed, we all know where we want to be. We want to be in the National League North with a chance to go in the National League next year, not take 2 years to get there. So it's a plan, and it's something that we're all working towards.
Absolutely, let's hope so. So Merthyr this weekend, then long trip to Wales. Managed to persuade the chairman for an overnight stay. Is that going to help you?
We hope so. I've had a conversation with you off air, Nigel, about non-league mentality. Non-league mentality is not necessarily their fault. Non-league mentality means that their first job is away from here. This is their second job possibly, and when their first job is away from here, that'll be a bigger earner invariably, and football becomes a hobby, and I'm trying to get that mentality of it's not a hobby, it's still a job, it's still work, and we have to be full-time if we can. We've trained on Tuesday with regards to Merthyr. We will train tonight with regards to Merthyr, and I'm just imploring the players to make sure what we say on a Tuesday stays with them on the Wednesday, comes back in on the Thursday, stays with them on the Friday, and then you've got 4 days preparation for Merthyr in your head, and that for me is a better chance of winning the game on Saturday. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to try and win the game on Saturday. I know they're a newly promoted team, but they're flying high. They're playing some great football. We've had them watched 5 or 6 times. We know the system they play. We know how they play. And they're very fluent. They're very fluid in change of formations, etc., etc. But again, it's one of them AstroTurf pitches that, unless it goes to -6, -7, -8 on Saturday night, we're going into the valleys, remember, and we're going into Wales, and we've got to be resilient, we've got to be robust, and we've got to meet the challenge head on, and that's the most important part of it. Whoever goes out there will play the football when we've got the ball, but when they've got the ball, we've got to get in their face. And if we get in their face sufficiently to get the head down, they'll stop playing.
Absolutely, and they were the first visitors this season to Pims Park after being newly promoted, and they performed very well here. They're a very good side. They brought a fair few fans with them as well, and there'll be a big crowd there on Saturday, won't there?
It'll be well supported, no doubt in my mind. It'll be England versus Wales, no doubt in my mind, and that always carries a little bit of edge to a game. They're newly promoted, as you made reference to. They want to put a marker down in this division, which they have done admirably. But I'll emphasise this 100%. We are a different team from the team that played Merthyr in the first game. And hopefully in them first 10-15 minutes they'll sample that. But in the next 75 minutes, I hope we play enough football to be able to surprise them a little bit, because we can play. We can play.
So I just want to talk to you a little bit further about Macclesfield and the recent FA Cup games. Yeah, amazing result for Macclesfield against Crystal Palace, and remember a couple of seasons ago Marine, who hosted Spurs, of course, and that actually transformed the club. Yeah. And is that sometimes what it takes for a club of this standard?
It can happen. Tamworth again with Spurs last season. The AstroTurf, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, doesn't matter. It's false ground. It's a different kind of playable surface. And it has to be said, the cup holders, and I'm not here to slaughter anybody, but the cup holders weren't prepared mentally or physically or technically. Because if you look at that pitch, you look at the size of the pitch, it's probably another 6 yards wider than Selhurst Park. It's probably another 6 yards longer than Selhurst Park. It's a massive surface, of which, before the first red card and the second red card, we give Macclesfield a run for their money, with the ball and without it. But John's got them going. He's got a tune out of them. But everybody will tell you that first challenge, the aerial challenge where there was claret all over the place, that for me looked like Crystal Palace balled it a wee bit, almost like they've seen the blood coming from a centre half who now wants to get a Terry Butcher kind of strapping around his head. It was old school. It was brilliant, nothing short of brilliant. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No, nothing wrong with it at all. There would have been something wrong if the referee had kept sending him off because he had blood on his shirt. For me, it was a marker in the first few minutes of the game. Could have been the first minute, clash of heads, and then it was the quality of Macclesfield, and we sampled that when we went down to 10 men, unfortunately, and then 9 men. But no, it wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised because we're in that division, so we support that level of football. But I was really disappointed in Palace, it has to be said. But every credit to John Rooney and Macclesfield.
And it's one of those reasons why we all love the game so much, isn't 100%. It? You can talk to...
Or the FA Cup, but the game in particular, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. You can talk to Premier League players around not being complacent and being on their game, and sometimes it just doesn't happen,
does it? Doesn't happen because one takes his eye off the ball, two, whatever, whoever your leaders are, they might not fancy it. And I don't mean not fancy it because I'm better than you or better than this or whatever. Just look at the surface and then go... might not be our day. So you've got that doubt. As soon as that doubt goes in your mind, you become an average player. Instead of being a world beater, Gay, he's probably staring at a £60 million transfer. He was made to look average. But that was Macclesfield's responsibility, and that's what they did. They stuck to that game plan and carried on all the way through. I thought it was brilliant, and it's great to see Wayne Rooney there as well, supporting his brother. But he would have sniffed it. As football people, we do. You sniff somebody that, oh, he's not quite right today, he's not quite on it. And it only takes one to set off a whole chain reaction, and that's exactly. They've drawn Brentford now.
Yeah.
If you tell me that Brentford will be in the same train of thought or the same mindset as what Crystal Palace were, I doubt it very, very much. And there's one guy that used to be a Sunderland player, became a Liverpool title winner, who will be in that change room. He'll be making sure the mentality of Brentford that day will be bang on. And the same with the manager. He's a new manager, and he'll know exactly what it's like to be at that level. He'll know exactly what it's like to win that game, what it'll take to win that game. And it means a good start, put your head on the ball when you need to, put your foot on the ball when you need to, and win the game with your quality.
Absolutely. So just finally then, Phil, you invited me over into your lovely warm office today. It's a bit damp outside, so it's nice to be over here, but I'm just spotting a picture on your back wall there. Interesting.
Me and the boy.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, how many years have I been in this game? 47 years in this game, and that's a postgraduate degree in football management when I was 63 years old. It's only 3 years ago. My son was one, that's Monty, and I got presented by the University of Liverpool. I got presented a management certificate in football management. It had to tick a box. It was one of them, not necessarily to manage at this level, but certainly to manage if you want to go into the Premier League and stuff like that. So I've never given up on it. I've never given up on the Premier League, and I never will. But my bottom line is that could tell people I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking football management. So it's not just the interviews now. It's being able to win games of football like Merthyr on Saturday, and it's fingers crossed. Let's hope we do.
Let's certainly hope so. Yeah, good luck on Saturday. Really looking forward to this weekend, and I genuinely think we can get a result.
Special mention: 40 supporters going across on a team bus, and they're going to have a weekend on it. We're going across there. We're going to prepare properly. We're having an overnight stay, and hopefully them 40 supporters, if there's more than that, great. But if hopefully them 40 supporters we're going to cross to at the end of it, because we've got something from the game.
I saw a great stat actually talking about our supporters, because people just talk about numbers and you know, a dozen at some of the away grounds that we've seen, but it's actually about 20% of our home crowd.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at the people, you look at the clubs that get 2,000 or 1,500. Yeah. They don't take 20% away.
No.
So
that's
you know, it's
good. It's a good point.
Yeah, it's great. But
let's hope hopefully we'll put a smile on our face.
Let's hope
I've not seen one for a while.
Thank you, Phil.